pay my $450 next time to my
Exactly.
account.
Hey, don't let any
All right.
secrets out.
Good evening. Welcome to the July 7th, 2014 Board of Selectmen meeting. If we can rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Gentlemen, warrants. You all took care of the warrant, I trust. We have...
Is the system down?
The what?
Is our
I don't
Wi-Fi
know.
down? I can't get my package.
Why don't we bring up the Cultural Council? Come on forward. We'll get you in and out as quickly as possible. Mr. Murphy,
How are you?
how are you?
Good.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So we have a request for a one-day liquor license, beer only, for July 20th, from 5 to 7 down at the Legion Park for the Cultural Council. Everything's in order, based on what I saw for insurance? And all of that good stuff. Did you guys have a concert last Sunday?
No,
past-
this
yes?
will,
No.
this will be the
This
first.
is the first, right? Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I
Correct.
thought. I had the schedule here
We'll
that
be
said the
looking for
13th.
everyone here to be there.
I actually had a signed,
Bring my own cup?
I did get a signed copy of the letter.
Okay.
Brought by and signed copy.
All right, so, everything's in order. You guys have been great doing that. Gentlemen, if you have any questions, fire away. All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve a one-day liquor license, beer only, for July 20th for the Cultural Council down between 5 and 7 at the American Legion Park.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
See?
I will see you there.
All right.
I hope so.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks for doing what you guys
20th.
do.
Put that on my calendar.
And is that
That's new.
Rust
people.
Never Sleeps? Is that the band playing?
Yes.
Are you doing the 13th as well? Or no?
No.
This-
We do playing a concert, but no beer.
Okay. Gotcha.
Thank you.
Have fun. Hopefully everybody will see you down there.
Yeah, that's getting more difficult. Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna run downstairs. Technology has failed me here.
Yeah,
I
it's
asked
not-
her to reset it, so it might
Reset it?
be,
All right.
it might pop up.
I thought I was gonna be able to do this electronically tonight, but
You should be able.
Next request is the conservation restriction. Vanessa, why don't you come on up?
let me see one more time if I can. Oh, there it is, Twitter just came. From legal today. I mean, I have my own LTE, so if
Is that in the,
It's not.
not in the packet? This is-
Maybe I'll just hold this up. Good evening, everyone. I'm
Good
Vanessa
evening.
Johnson with Essex County Greenbelt Association. For those of you who aren't familiar with us, although you all look familiar, for the benefit of the public.
Very familiar.
For the benefit of the public, we're a nonprofit member-supported land conservation organization that's been working in Essex County and with Essex County landowners for over 50 years to preserve the wildlife habitat, working farmlands, and scenic landscapes of Essex County. One of the ways that we do this is through working with landowners to do a permanent deed restriction on their property called a conservation restriction. This is a voluntary agreement. And in this case, Mr. James Maripodi and his late wife are seeking to preserve a 5.53 acre portion of a 6.2 acre property across from what is a family, or was a family vacation home on Rock Pond, just off of Heather Road. This conservation restriction is on the yellow portion that you see here. This is the 5.53 acres. It's a very straightforward conservation restriction. It simply eliminates development on that potential on that portion and leaves the landowner with the right to use it for non-motorized recreation, hiking, walking, cross-country skiing, some firewood, pretty much using it the way that the family always has. They're very much enjoy this forest land and wanted to see it preserved for wildlife habitat. And they did exclude a portion right here that can be used to build a residence in the future, which I believe is what their hope is, to sell the entire property and to someone who's going to then construct a home site on that unrestricted portion. In Massachusetts, conservation restrictions must be approved and signed by the municipality in which they're in. And in this case, as well as the state, this conservation restriction has already been through legal review at the state level and been approved by the state. And at this point, I am seeking the approval of the Board of Selectmen. The conservation restriction has also been before the Conservation Commission, who attested to the conservation values being protected by the conservation restriction, and that these conservation values are in the public benefit to be preserved, and did make a recommendation that the Board of Selectmen sign the conservation restriction. And I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Mike, want to address this?
Yeah, I asked, since our legal counsel hadn't reviewed the document, I asked him to review it today, and he came back. He did not, as you can see in the email, review the actual conditions, because this is a private conservation restriction. And the only reason why the selectmen are involved, they have to determine that it's in the public interest to do this. Whatever the conditions are between Greenbelt and the Greenbelt and the property owner are, you know, not under your, you know, direction or control.
Okay.
So that's what your job is, to just determine, and you're required, the state requires the Board of Selectmen to sign off on it. If you don't sign off on it, then it doesn't go through.
Okay.
And also the secretary from the state has to sign off on it too.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, are we significantly decreasing or increasing in any way the value of the particular property by adding the restriction?
I talked to Steve Przemski, and he met with the assessor, and it's already being assessed at the lowest usable rate. And to change it into a conservation restriction, the total impact would be $85 less than we're getting now.
And then potential new home built on the site would increase the value, increase the taxes to remittance to the town, right?
It would. Again, according to Steve, even though it's a 5-acre area, the most they'd be able to get is a single family
Right.
home on it.
Okay.
So I just, if, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind. Are you done, Dave? Sorry.
Well, if we go ahead and say yes, they still have to go through the permitting process and the approval process in terms of putting a single-family home on that property.
Well, they wouldn't be able to do it if the CR happens.
Well, they
Well, they have to cut
they're
out-
holding
No,
off a
they-
portion of that for
Right.
future
Right, for a residential.
structure, right?
So that wouldn't be subject to the restriction.
Correct.
And so my question is, that piece of the property, they would still have to go through zoning and whomever, for whatever structure they want to put up there.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that would significantly add to.
Could.
Right, depending upon what type of home and what size property.
Right.
So the size home they put up. Okay.
If it is in fact buildable.
This piece is,
Okay.
yeah.
So, do you know the square footage of that, of that one particular piece? Over an
Actually,
acre?
yes, I do.
Is it over an acre?
No, it's under an acre.
It
but
looks
it's-
under, because that's 5.5, the whole thing.
Yeah, it's under,
Everything,
so it's
right?
7/10 of an acre.
So here's maybe a technical question, so would they need a special permit in order to build on less than an acre?
I don't know what the zoning is.
No, they shouldn't, because they don't own less than an acre, they're gonna own 6.2
So that's included in the
acres.
calculation?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, I have two questions for you. One, so I know you've been here with us in the past, and our restrictions have been for our own, and that we've been the grantees of that. So this is with the state, is this, or the Essex Greenbelt?
Just Greenbelt.
Just the Greenbelt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And the second question is, the restriction doesn't provide for any public access to this land.
Correct.
Is that by design, or is that by geography?
No, it's up to the landowner. I mean, it's, for every conservation restriction, it's up to the private landowner whether or not they want to make their land open to the public. I think if we required every landowner who put a conservation restriction on their property to have public access, that would make a lot of landowners very nervous. In areas where we think public access is appropriate, where it's adjacent to an existing park or open space that already has public access on it, we do strongly encourage the landowner and try to work with them to have some sort of meaningful public access, especially if public funds are involved in an acquisition. But in this case, even though this is city-owned conservation land, there's no public access. There are no existing trails on that, to my knowledge, and really the intent of this conservation restriction is to preserve the wildlife habitat.
Thank you.
Any questions, Gary?
Yeah, who is going to oversee this? Is it Greenbelt?
Greenbelt, because
Okay.
we hold the restriction, it's our responsibility to oversee and enforce the conservation restriction
So there's.
in perpetuity.
Are they granting you some funds to do this, or?
We request
Yeah,
that they do,
so that-
yes.
But that's nothing to do with our town.
Correct.
So then I think right now we've got a few of these sort of things where we have, I think, some small revolving accounts or something.
We have one.
Okay, yeah. So, and it's really something that we, as a town, probably wanna more avoid and let Greenbelt handle, I think.
Absolutely.
Right. So, okay. What do you know about the area in purple?
This
You
piece?
just mentioned that this is.
Yeah, all I know is that that's held as in the care and control of the Conservation Commission by the
Okay.
town. That's all I really know. I don't really know the history of that piece.
Yeah.
Is it contiguous, or is there a?
No, there's actually a little strip of private land in between.
Where do the owners live now? Because you mentioned it was their vacation property.
They live in North Carolina.
But there's not a residence on there?
No, their vacation piece was across the
Oh,
road.
okay.
Their home was across the road,
Okay,
family
gotcha.
home.
So Vanessa, is the Conservation Commission, they looked at this land and the restriction that they're looking to put on that portion outside of the box, the full CR, is that considered non-buildable land?
The conservation restriction eliminates the building
Well,
potential.
Yeah,
But currently.
currently, is it buildable land?
My understanding is that it was being taxed as unbuildable land, pretty much, most of that area.
Okay. Any further questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Maripati Heather Road Conservation Restriction for Essex County Greenbelt as presented.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion?
If
Mr.
I may,
Fowler.
so Mike, what you're saying is you feel, our attorneys feel that this is okay?
Yeah.
Even though he said he hasn't really.
Well, he'd review it if it wasn't,
Yeah.
if it wasn't private.
Yeah, private.
If it was town
Okay.
land that we were doing something like what we did
Mhm.
up at the farm or something like
Okay.
that. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, abstained. You are all set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
So I'll pass this around to be signed.
Sure.
Janet, are you a notary? I am, if you're not. I can,
have my notary stuff tonight.
I can notarize.
If you wanna leave it, you can pick it up another day and I can notarize it tomorrow.
Oh, that's okay. I think I'm legally required to notarize it the night that the night that it's signed, so that's okay. I did bring my thing, so I'm gonna send around a book and this is just my record book that I'm required to keep as a notary, so you all could just sign wherever there's space.
Okay.
Mine here.
you guys are doing that, I'm just gonna run downstairs and get my package because this email system is still not working right.
Just pulled it out.
Key.
Probably not.
You know, wherever there's space in here, these aren't really meant for
Just that one page, right,
groups
Vanessa?
to. Yes, yeah, yeah.
Where were you saying to sign?
Wherever there's
Says-
room, anywhere,
Somewhere over here.
anywhere in this box, either.
Oh, this block,
Yeah,
okay.
wherever there's
Can't get it off the key.
We were just saying that.
It's the red one.
Somewhere up there in the top, right, very small, it's only one,
Where'd you go? Right there?
one little box.
wherever there's room, it's fine. That's just an internal
Okay,
record
mine just
keeping
looks like an
book.
underline anyway. You're on a roll. We're gonna see you next month for the next property.
I hope so. I don't know, I'm not on the schedule at this time.
Okay.
Okay, and
Thank you, and I'll
Salem
make
Park
sure,
and
the
Rec?
town gets a copy of this as
Yes.
well.
They're not
Yeah,
coming
we're
in?
waiting for someone
Thank
to come
you.
in and sign something.
Okay, so we're scratching both those.
This one.
Thank you, Vanessa. All right, we have a request from Darlene Mager, is that how we, Mahar? Thank you, to sell cupcakes at American Legion Park from a cupcake truck. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Where are the goods?
No samples?
That was some bribery, I think.
He's the official tasting jester here.
Yeah, we like cupcakes. So, bring us up to speed on what you're thinking. We have your,
Right now, I just
Agenda.
started, doing it out of my house. I live in Groveland.
okay.
So I, got safe certified, and the Board of Health came to my house and inspected it, gave me permission to sell them out of my house. So recently, I bought a van and converted it into a service window and
Yeah.
a cupcake van.
Cool.
So now I'm trying to, I can, basically use it in my town, but I wanted to try to branch out a little and see if I could go to the American Legion Park and
Okay.
sell there.
On any particular event nights or,
Yeah, like,
Weekends or whatever.
weekends, cause I still work full-time,
yeah,
so it'd be weekends, and, I don't know, I mean, I know you have the concerts, but I also know that there's food trucks that go to that, so I don't know if that's a whole different ballgame if I can't go there or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's a scheduled thing.
all right.
But I didn't have at the time, a copy of my permit from my town, so if you need that, I have that here.
Okay.
If you could submit that to Janet, that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be good. So, Mike, Janet, want to bring us up to speed on any issues or point of view?
Well, at this point in time, we do not have food truck regulations, so everything defaults to the state.
Okay.
And in this case, the state would require a license to peddle, or it goes under the hawkers and peddlers general law. So they
Yeah.
would need a license from the state, and they also have to register to collect sales tax. And as part of the licensing procedure with the state, they need to get a certificate from our health department.
Okay.
Yeah, I spoke to your health department, and she said I had to go to you guys. Cause I did speak to her first, cause it goes under our health department in Groveland, so.
That's just for a home occupation though, right?
Well, I explained no, my person inspected my van and everything, so I have a permit to sell in Groveland.
But you don't have a hawkers and peddlers license?
Nope, because, I mean, in here, I looked to see what it was, and, basically for the food sales, it says, a health certificate obtained by your local Board of Health, if you intend to sell your goods, tax registration, for obtained from the Department of Revenue. But I don't do taxes, so I didn't know. And if I got the license, you'd have to have the chief of police do a certificate of character, which I've contacted our chief of police, and he has never returned my phone calls. And I do have a Corey report with my, my school, because I am involved on the PTA and my daughter goes to Bagnell, so I have that on file with my town too.
Yeah, I think the Chief Cudmore mentioned to the board that there were changes to the law for ice cream trucks, but that's all it applies for, that the ice cream truck operators have to be quarried now. Not a whole lot of difference between cars and ice cream trucks either, but it's good that she has one. It's not required though.
So, because it's a food item, you don't need sales tax on it?
It's prepared food,
It,
you do.
it would be taxable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a
You're
restaurant,
supposed to collect
basically?
sales tax,
I,
just like, you know.
Yeah. So I'm still a little unclear on exactly what we think and versus what you think are needed for permits and licenses. So can you just give me a rundown of what, to get a peddler's and
Hawkers and
hawker's
peddler.
license, right? A tax certificate.
Yes,
Yep, I got that, to make sure that they're collecting for, and we need to double check, you should double check if you should be collecting taxes for yourself.
yeah, I have a copy of the application, and she's correct. The chief of police in the city and town in which the applicant resides needs to sign a certificate of character.
And so we don't have that yet, because you haven't gotten a return call from your chief,
not from my chief, no.
okay? But that's just the town that she resides, or
Yes.
the
Right.
applicant resides.
But you would, to sell here, they would need a certificate from our health
Health board?
department,
Okay.
regardless of whether she has one
Oh, we're not-
in
okay.
Groveland.
All right, okay.
Okay.
So for her to get that permit that she has in Groveland, then they're following their own bylaws or not, the states, right? So.
Right.
Okay. So the hawkers and peddlers license. We gotta figure out if that's really what's needed. According to Mike, it is. Tax certificate, to show that you are applied and registered as a for-profit and paying taxes.
Well, it's the
Sales tax.
collection of sales
Sales
tax.
tax.
And you need,
DOR.
okay, you need a certificate of good character from the chief of police in your town,
In my town or your town?
in your
No,
town,
yours.
Okay,
which it sounds like you've been trying to get. And then a health certificate from our Board of Health, and then an approval from the Board of Selectmen. And I think that's gonna come last,
Right.
once you get all those other licenses. And just show, I'm not speaking for the board, but I can't see any reason why we wouldn't want you to go down and sell cupcakes at American Legion Park. However, with the caveat that you do coordinate with the Park and Recs Department down there when they may not want to have your, and I don't know if we can even regulate that, as a matter of fact. I mean,
Well,
it's,
until we develop our own regulations,
Yeah.
we can't.
Okay.
But we do have something on the agenda a little bit further down the line.
Right, which is
Well,
just on that topic.
We
Yeah,
discussed this draft last year
Last year,
about this time.
Yep.
Every year at this time, somebody comes forth, a hot dog truck or somebody.
It's a tradition, really.
Yeah. It's true.
Yes,
We might
it
get
is.
it right this time, you know what I mean? Get the regulation done, the bylaw. Any questions?
Well, I wouldn't want to send her away to say, this is what you need, and then we adopt this, and it says you need a hawkers and peddlers license. So,
Well, I doubt, well, part of these draft regulations requires a hawkers and peddlers license as
Yeah.
well.
okay.
I mean, you can't get around that. It's a state law.
Yeah.
We can make it more restrictive. We can't make
Right.
it
But
less
does, so does
restrictive.
she need a hawkers and peddlers license?
Yes.
Okay.
for
Yeah,
your
that-
town, yes,
Yeah, add that to your list.
not for mine.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
All right.
So I guess, have we been, do you understand what you need?
yep,
Okay,
thanks.
because then you can explain it to me.
Yeah, there's one other thing, that I would mention too, is have you got a DBA certificate from the town? From your town, doing business as?
No.
You probably should check into that with your town clerk.
Because she just has, no, she just has what I have from my town, that's it.
Yeah, but I would check in with your town clerk and see if you needed what's called a DBA certificate. It's really easy to do.
I think in Georgetown, the home business is required.
Yeah, if you have a home business, you have to file a DBA certificate. It's fairly simple.
Alrighty. Okay,
So I know these all sound onerous, but I think they're gonna protect you as well. So I think it would be helpful for us to kind of get some input from at least Park and Rec if they're gonna be down. It's not, while we govern, it's really, I want to hear their input. I think it makes good business sense for them, good public service as well. So. On the surface, it sounds great. I'm trying to think of what am I not thinking about, right?
They do have the snack bar down there
Yeah,
that's open
those
for
are the-
some of the events, so I don't
Yes.
know
Okay.
if it would, if they would limit it because
oh yeah, no, I know, cause one of our packs has a snack bar too,
Yeah.
so,
Any further questions?
Nope.
Great, you got,
Okay.
you know what you need,
Yep.
and look forward to seeing you again.
alrighty,
And if you have any questions.
Yeah,
connect
Mike
with
and
Janet
Janet
Mike,
can
and-
certainly help.
okay, sure,
All right?
alright, thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Yeah, thank you. Good
Thanks
luck
for
with
coming
that.
down.
Thank you.
Like to see that roll, literally, you know? All right, so GAA's not coming in, Park and Rec are not coming in, so. Why don't we move to our appointments?
So we're passing these over?
Hmm?
Mr. Chairman,
Yep,
quick question.
yep.
Was Parks and, GAA Turf Field Committee, were they here at the last meeting?
They did come in
Somerset.
and give us an update.
To the satisfaction of the board?
For the three of us that were here, yes.
Well, actually, the way we left it, they were going to meet with me
Right.
so we can finalize the
The contract, the agreement.
agreement.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was on vacation last week, so that couldn't
Yeah.
happen.
Okay.
So the draft agreement's in here,
Yep, I saw it.
and we'll revisit that on the next meeting,
All right.
if they can get together with you to go over it.
Yeah,
I
there
think
were
that
some
they
other-
actually want to change the agreement.
Yeah, I definitely have some concerns on
Yeah,
some
there
stuff.
were a number of action items that came out of that meeting. I'm sorry, it's been a fun, long weekend, and I can't remember, but some of that was to go through I guess one of them was to get the field to bleachers and scoreboard and all that. What would it take? That's not being, that we don't have the funds for. There were some things. If you could just take a look at the notes from there and,
Long-term plan with cost to outfit
Yeah,
the
yeah.
final,
Right, if it's being
layout.
done in phases, that's what
Yeah, and we had asked them to do
at least the room is.
a long-term plan, what the cost would be for
Put
bleachers, this,
bleachers
that, and
in
the
and
other thing.
bathrooms like we had spoke about.
from my understanding, there is no long-term plan. I also understand that there may be a potential challenge to even be able to do it now because we're so close to the brook. Again, I might be speaking out of turn, but these are the. those
Yeah,
are the-
not that I'm aware of from the Concom issues at this point, but,
Okay.
I know we talked about the lights, because they have lights that, they have funding for 2, not 4, or they have funding for 4, not 6. So they were hoping to, get funding for the other lights, and then scoreboard, and then they have temporary bleachers, and in order to get other bleachers in, it would take infrastructure for bathrooms and whatnot, so. So Mike, you'll follow up with them on that?
An unbelievable amount of bathrooms.
Yeah, like 20 bathrooms, basically. It was a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
We get our own
It
with
was
our name
kinda
on the
crazy.
door.
Yeah, it was kind of ridiculous,
We
but
were just
it
worried
was,
about spectators, not.
yeah, I know, and it was
Shower.
a little
ADA
shocking, you know what I
compliancy,
mean?
and
Yeah,
it's based on the
and
number of.
It was kind of crazy.
Okay.
Permanent
Well,
versus.
at least the
'Cause it's
bleachers
permanent.
to sit and watch the game.
They'll have temporary
There's temporary ones,
bleachers there.
but not as many.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so I'd like to get to the appointments here, and number 8, we need to address number 8. State Sealer of Weights and Measurements. And then we have a request from Mr. Rose for an appointment of Sealer of Weights and Measures. So Mike, why don't you bring us up to speed here?
After last meeting, it suggested we see what the state sealer of weights and measures had to offer, and I spoke to Charles Carroll, and he sent an outline, well, he sent a draft contract and a email memo, which wasn't included in your package, but basically, let me pull it up there.
You have an email dated June 26th, Mike.
Is that
Yeah.
from Charles Carroll?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
his response to you.
Yeah, it just outlines the services that they would provide, including reports. The only difference is the fees were billed by the former sealer, and the state won't, they'll send us a list of everybody that they serviced, and then we would be responsible for sending the bills out. And they would, based on past numbers, they would do it for $3,000 a year.
Okay. So everyone had a,
And Frank, after talking to Mr. Carroll, I would recommend we go with the state.
okay. Any questions, gentlemen?
I'm not sure what questions to ask, really.
I'm with Gary on this one.
So the question
You know,
is whether or
it's
not we,
always- Well, if I.
Oh, sorry, go ahead,
It's always
Gary.
been I don't even know when we went out to Haverhill. It used to be a small part-time job someone in here held. I imagine it got beyond the capacity perhaps of what someone could do, probably because of certification that you need and things of that sort. But I am many times a little leery also of tying up with the state.
That's something you
So
guys
I
really
would-
need to
I
think
would-
about.
Excuse me, I would, I don't know how gonna handle this, cause I think we appointed this gentleman to the end of this month with it.
Today,
Um,
the 1st through the 7th.
Oh, till today?
Oh, was it up to the meeting? Okay.
I thought it, oh, okay,
yeah, it was just up to last meeting.
okay,
All right.
so, I mean, whether we go with another short term until we could get any information, perhaps might be the best thing. Cause I certainly don't, not having the information from the state, I don't know that I wanna make a decision.
What would
Ten
be,
minutes.
All the information is in this draft.
it's in the draft here that I'm looking at.
But I don't believe I have that.
It's in your packet, it's number 8, it's in the very back.
Mike, could I ask a couple questions while Gary's looking for that?
Sure.
Yeah,
So-
I'm done, thank you.
As far as what we're being provided now, as far as reports, would this be more additional information from the state from what we're getting now? Or,
Yeah, it would have to be, because we don't get anything.
so there's no reporting to us?
No.
Yeah, he sent in a report every year.
I've never seen it. I don't know who it goes to.
Goes to he was dealing with the people in the
Board of
Board of
Health.
Health.
Board of Health?
Yeah. There was a lady down there that knew how to deal with this, I guess, when my father came on, and they appointed him, and he'd been doing the job, and now he just gonna retire. And I've been following up, I've been actually deputized, I'm a certified sealer in Haverhill, I do Haverhill now. I just got appointed in Wakefield and sworn in last week for that. And I was just covering all the towns. I was going around to the towns that my father's not gonna be able to do anymore.
Right.
I know we lost Newburyport to the state, and then they went right back out within 6 months, and went back to an individual for their town to do the sealer's job.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot more required.
So, Mr. Chair, the question is do we want to consider, do we consider contracting with the state services or with Mr. Rose?
Correct.
And I gotta tell you, the recommendations the recommendation that we got, now granted it's the state, is that we contract with the state, right?
They're trying to gobble up all the little towns
Well,
now.
hear me out. And then, and doing some research behind the scenes and talking to some people, and getting some references on yourself. There are things that we need to consider, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, my question is this, I look at it this way. It's not a very big expense for us, for the town. However, it's still, there's still money on the table here. We're talking, $1,000, right? I personally would be willing to have Mr. Rose try this for a year and make a profession and make it professional for us. My own personal opinion.
You're gonna see a lot different results from me than you would my father.
I don't see any of those results, to be honest with you, at this level. But no news is usually good news, and I'm sure he did a great job.
Oh, he did.
I think the legacy that hopefully, again, I never heard anything negative at all, ever. I personally want to give you a chance to.
We always kept it
have a
personal with the
contract
merchants, when we
I-
did,
I'm
and
going
we're there
against
for
my
the
town
consumer and for
administrator's
the merchant.
recommendation, by the
It's
way.
not one or the other, it's the both. 90% of the stuff that I do find is in consumers' favor. It's the merchants that's losing a lot of the times. So, when I do my yearly reports for each town that I do, my merchant, the money that I save the merchants is a lot bigger than the money that I save the consumer. Especially with the gas stations the way they are now. They're giving away a lot of gas. With the ethanol in it, it wears the seals faster. They never go minus, they always go to the positive side. So at least once a year, they have to be adjusted. In Haverhill alone, I've had 6 retests this year already. They had to send out the company to recalibrate the pumps because they were giving away a lot of gas.
So, Mr. Chairman, I have some questions. So, do they prepay you before you do the service, or?
No, what I do, this is a copy right here of what the merchant gets for a slip from me. They get the white one, I keep the yellow one. Those are the fees that pertain to Georgetown, the things that would have to be done in Georgetown. There's a lot of other stuff on there that doesn't pertain to you guys. Those are the current fees that are
What
being
happens if
charged.
they don't pay you?
They don't pay me, they pay you guys.
Pay the town
They
directly.
send in Haverhill, I have a stamp that I put right on the bill, and it says send payment to, or remit payment to City Hall.
Oh, sorry.
I don't
You
know
know,
if they want it. I think I
There's a
saw
lot of
that.
things on there that you'll see that need to be taken care of.
So, Mike, so we chase that delinquency? We reconcile that?
No, we don't.
If they don't pay, what
We-
usually
we-
happens
we-
is they
we-
let my father know, and then we go back out and we go to the people and say, hey, you haven't paid your bill, here's a copy of it, you need to pay this bill. I mean, I always get that in Haverhill, I get it in Wakefield, I get it in all the other towns we do.
Can I hear from Mike? Say that again?
I asked the accountant what the amount of revenue we have received, and it's in the neighborhood of $300 to $400 a year.
So
Someone's not paying.
there's been a disconnect between the merchants and town hall.
How much do we bill, I guess, and versus collect? But you don't have a report, so you really don't know.
Oh, I can generate a report.
We'll ask you for one, don't worry.
No, I can just tell you right now, let's see, the gas station across the street here, I just did that gas station last month. I'm just trying to think, there's six, that's 12 dispensers, plus 2 diesels, plus he has a propane scale. So that bill right there in itself, just that little gas station, that'd be $20 for 12 pumps. No, $20 for 14 pumps, excuse me. 14 hoses,
280,
280, plus $25 for the propane scale.
305.
That's that one bill right there for that
One
station.
station.
One station. Now Crosby's has a bigger bill because all their scales, all the checkout scales, the deli scales, the produce scales, everything that's pre-packed, all of those scales have to be done once a year.
So, Mr. Rose, would you be willing to provide us a report every month to let us know what you build?
Absolutely.
You have to, you do
There's gonna
that,
be some
it's-
months where
it's
you won't
done
have
now.
anything. I think my father regenerated a report once a year for you guys and told you what everything was done in the town and what was built. Some people, like the little farmers markets, not the farmers market, the little fruit farm stands that you have in town. There's a few of them.
So is that a yes?
Yes.
That's all I
Yes,
need.
I can give you a report on anything you
I
want.
just, even if it's zero, just
Yep.
let us know.
I
mean,
can
because if we have
email a report
if
to
we're
whoever you
collecting
want me
20,
to.
30% on something,
And quarterly, probably,
I
right?
mean, if it's,
No.
if we've only received $300 to $400 annually, and one bill is over 300, there's been a disconnect for a while. We've been losing revenue.
right, so we'd like to fix that, and let's
Yeah, you're
start with
losing
monthly,
revenue.
and then we can
Absolutely.
hopefully go to quarterly, and then from there, just to get a sense of what goes on. This isn't a huge issue with us.
Right.
But from a consumer standpoint, if you, collectively, it could be, right, so.
Yeah, because you're gonna get, I don't know how many complaints my father handled, consumer people calling the town hall, because on my stickers, on the stickers that go on the devices we seal, there's a phone number, and it should be the town hall number. If a consumer has an issue with either the weights are wrong, or the volume of gas is wrong, they think, they call that number and it's a complaint. Well, then I have to go back out, or my father goes back out. We go and get the person's phone number, we talk to them, see what the problem is. We go to the place where the incident happened, we check the device again, we make sure that the device is right, then we call back the consumer and let him know what we found. And if there's an issue, there's a big issue with pump jump a lot of times in this wintertime. You take the hose, you'll put it in your tank, and it'll jump 4 or 5 cents all by itself before you even start pumping. Standard, it's a normal occurrence in the wintertime.
So, Mr. Wallace, you're working with Haverhill, and you just got appointed to
Wakefield. Yep.
Which gives me confidence that, one, larger cities have systems and processes probably better than we do, because we're a
Yes.
smaller community. So whatever those best practices are, you can share with us.
I would like to, I can give you what
I-
I generate for a report for Haverhill.
Great.
I can just show you a copy of it.
Just, how much do we pay a year for this?
That's from a few months ago, that's just,
$300 a month.
that's actually last
$3,600.
year's, is that June or something like that?
May.
Yeah, that's last year's. So what I do is I just make a copy of the report from the last year, and I go out and I do everything that I did the previous year on that month.
Mike,
And I can send you that same report quarterly or once a month if you want.
did the state mention that their reporting would be computerized and automated?
Yes, I will email it to you.
They didn't state that, no.
So if I get this right, the sealer of weights and measures reports directly to
No one.
Health Department?
Yes, it's that way in Haverhill, it's that way in
Appointed position
Wakefield.
to us, aren't they?
Yes, but it more properly
The
belongs
jurisdiction in
to
terms
the
of Board of Health.
Board of Health.
Right.
But the Board of Health has
Have
had
you-
little or no interaction
Well, that's my question.
with the sealer of weights and measures.
Thank you.
You had a question?
It's slowly getting answered. That
I-
was-
that's what I
that
figured,
was- I wanted to know more from Mike, his feelings and why he feels the state, and that was, the state still wasn't going to bill. We would be billing,
That's correct.
and so who would you feel comfortable turning that over? Because the Board of Health, I imagine, has, I guess they do some billing for services, but,
Yeah,
so
they
should
have
we,
permitting fees
should we
and
leave
things
it
like that.
with them, or should?
Yes. But
okay.
you know,
So-
it's been an orphan. And 2 years ago, I put this, the sealer of weights and measures was a line item and off by itself. So I pulled it into the health department. But nothing, you know, they haven't had much of any contact with the sealer.
So if
Maybe
I-
once a year, I think.
But you feel comfortable that if they were getting the reports from someone versus the state sealer of weights and measures or or whoever we hire, that they would then do the billing
Yeah,
and
somebody
generate
would-
at least enough to
The
be.
problem is no one's responsible for it.
Because we're obviously putting some of money out there and not,
That's what my
Getting
job
paid
is, to
back
make sure
for
the
it.
bills
Well,
get.
we're $2,700 in the hole at least, at a minimum.
Yeah, I would think, you know, it should cover
Should cover itself for at least.
It should actually, if it's done correctly, like in Haverhill, you can see by that last month that I make the town money every month.
if I may continue, Mr. Chair, I again, just like at our last meeting, I'm not comfortable right now voting one way or the other. I'd like if we could to go out a little longer, perhaps we need to see if the Board of Health needs any input. Perhaps we don't, perhaps Mike feels that his input is enough, but I think I'd like,
No, I think you should talk to the Board of Health.
yeah.
I have.
Mhm.
I think you should
Yeah.
too.
So I don't know, perhaps somebody knows that.
Not
that's
the Board of
best.
Health, but the health agent. I mean,
Okay, yeah.
Because I don't think that Board of Health is involved whatsoever.
Okay, so, yeah, okay.
So my feeling is that, you know, Mike's the finance director, this is an area that we've been, you know, deficient, not a lot of money, but we haven't been collecting what we should have been collecting for, seems like a substantial period of time. We've got a $3,000 a year outlay, and what are we collecting back, $300-400? It's time, you know, that we looked at these things. So, I mean, for me, I'm with Mike, I'm ready to make a change.
Just remember one thing, Mr. Rose here has not been our sealer of weights and measures, it's been his dad.
Right,
and
right, understand.
So he's trying to update
Right.
evidently
Right.
that. And I mean, this is the first time that we've seen anybody in front of us in the years that I've been on the board,
Right.
which,
Well, for me, it's not personal,
me,
it's a
yeah.
business decision. I mean, if we're losing revenue, it needs to be corrected right away. That's my feeling.
Can I ask a question? How many scales are in town?
I would have to take a count. I mean,
So
I
no
can't,
one
I
knows.
can't off the top of my head tell you how many are, let's see.
How many
Crosby's,
pumps?
1, 2, 3.
Nobody knows.
There's 3 gas stations in town.
There's 3 gas stations in town. You've got the oil racks for Townsend over up the street here that have to be done. They have to be certified, and they have a couple dispensers for diesel and stuff. You've got a place up the street here that has, sells stone. They have a floor scale up there. You've got Crosby's with all the scales. You've got the CVS that has a pharmacy scale and a weight kit. I've already done them this year. The Board of Pharmacies went around and they required their store be done. I believe Crosby's is already done and this gas station here is done. There's still more work to be done. I have to go to the schools, all schools, once a year to do the scales at the schools. I do the high school, the elementary, and the middle school. I think there were 3 schools in your town. I'm trying to, I have a few other towns, so I'm just trying to remember everything that I do here.
mellow.
They're the garden center,
Gardens and-
the garden center up the street.
Transfer station.
The transfer station, yep. That's right, the transfer station.
Johnny's, you know.
That's a truck scale. But see, when the truck scale comes in, you have to have somebody, the scale company that services that unit, they have to be there, because I personally don't have 20,000 pounds of test weights. You know, they call the people that service their scale out, and I am there. I make arrangements to be there when they're gonna do the service, so that I can witness the fact that the weights put on the scale and the weights are correct and within tolerance.
See, the state does have those items.
No, the state doesn't have that. They don't have a weight truck.
They have all the weights and measures, and they're calibrated on a regular basis on it.
Yep, mine go down to the state every year to be, well, not every year, it's every 5 years on my gas cans. I take them down to the metrology lab. I know, I worked with the guy that's running the metrology lab now, Ray Costa. I know Charlie Carroll very well. The one thing I can say is I give it the personal touch, the state's not gonna. when I come in and do it, I'm working with the merchants. I have never handed out a fine in my life doing this job. As long as the merchant corrects the problem, there's no reason to hand a fine out.
If I may, there's one thing I work with the state and with a contractor at church, and that's on our lift, and that has to get inspected by the state once a year. And some of what he just explained, even though it's perhaps a totally different thing, but it's still a state inspection. The state comes out, the guy from the state doesn't even have a toolbox. The guy from the company that installed the lift has everything, he performs everything, and the state guy watches him. But I will say, to what he just said, the fines on that are extremely heavy. If you don't start your procedure on the right date, you can start getting fined $200 a day. And so I don't know what type of fines and that we have on this, and if the state would enact that, just as he's saying. And that could be a big surprise to some of the people in that.
Yeah, they'll go in and do
That's,
scanner
so
checks.
I'm just, that's,
Who gets the money from the fines?
The biggest fine that they can hand out right now is with the scanner checks. If they were to go into the CVS and just do 100 items, they have to get a 98% correct. Anything after the 98%, it's $100 per item on the shelf, up to $2,500.
That's a
As you
state,
said.
that's a state,
That's the state.
goes to the state, those fines.
So
Those
there's
fines would go to the state if the state hands it out. If I find somebody, it would go to your town. But see, like, the deal, the people I talk with in City Hall, they prefer me not to hand out fines. They don't wanna upset the merchants, it's bad enough I gotta go around there once a year and drag money out of them to have this stuff certified. And I just explained it to them that, hey, it's just like getting an inspection sticker on your car. Once a year, you gotta go in and you gotta have it done.
So, Mr. Chair, I mean, I've certainly heard both arguments both ways, and I'll just go back, we have a one-year appointment, we're talking about $3,000 on a budget of $27 million. We're spending a lot of time on this, which should be, because we wanna get this right, but, my preference is to have someone who's local in the area, who's got family's got a relationship with all of our businesses in town. I prefer, to give this individual a shot. I feel comfortable that he is, also working with larger communities. We have the right at any time to pull the appointment. So I think it's a win-win situation for us going forward.
And I would say part of the evaluation is, are we getting the revenue, are we getting the reports we need to get the revenue we need to the right people? And that's our problem to fix, but we need the information to fix it.
I'm gonna need an email address to send a report to.
Let's get you appointed first.
Okay.
before we-
Just out of curiosity, this isn't, this is a contract, right? So is this like below a bid requirement, or I'm just talking procurement laws, I'm just
Yes,
curious.
it
So
is.
this is below that, okay.
Any further discussion?
So it's a
Wanna make a
one-year
motion?
appointment? Let's make a one-year. I'm gonna make a recommendation to, I move to appoint Wallace Rose to the position of sealer of weights and measures with a term to expire on June 31st, 2015.
Second.
Any further discussion?
if I may, just to be clear again, so you are now taking over for your dad, who has been our former
Mhm.
seal of weights and measures.
Correct.
And if I may, now, as you had mentioned, Phil, we could pull this at any time if we wanted to, but would there be any legal problems there that you see, Mike?
You'd have to have cause.
No, you'd have to have cause.
Right. So if we felt we had cause, we weren't getting the reports that we're talking about here tonight.
Yep.
And
Right.
such.
And I think we need to start off with inventory too.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say,
Okay.
I would like to see a full inventory done on our pumps and our scales.
The whole town?
The whole town.
I can do that. for
Send
you.
that report to us, send us a monthly report on what's gotten,
Well,
put
some of the
together.
stuff has already been done this year.
it's fine. summarize
I,
that?
I can tell you what's been done. so.
I-
We're still in our discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a question, Gary?
I think that's about it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
if I might. So we have a motion on the table that takes the appointment to June 30th of 2015. I'd like to offer an amendment to the motion for the term to expire September 30th, 2014. That gives Mr. Rose 3 months to show us that he can produce the reports, he can go ahead and get this thing back on track for us. So I'd be willing to go out for 3 months and revisit it again. Otherwise, I can't support it.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Well, we gotta take,
We have to take a vote on the motion that's on the floor, and then you can
He needs a second.
do an amendment.
I need a second on the amendment, right?
second.
Well, do we have to take a vote on the first?
No.
Or with the amendment, we can do that?
Now that the amendment's been seconded, you
You gotta do the amendment.
vote on the
On the first one and then the second?
No,
Just-
second on the
Just the second one,
So-
okay.
amendment.
So,
If I may,
yes.
question on this, on the Dave's
Mhm.
amendment. How does Mr. Rose feel about that? I'm directing it to the chair to.
Your guys' call.
Fine, okay,
You know, I mean, I'm here to provide a service
good.
and do the best I can for the community. That's what I do in every community that I work in. Been doing it for a long time, so.
Okay. And we know you're picking up picking up the business for your dad, and, you know, I'm kinda with Phil. I like to give you the chance to clean it up, get it right, get it professional, get us reporting monthly, get us a total accounting of, what do we have in town for pump scales,
That's gonna be the first thing that I'll do.
all that stuff.
I can go around and I can actually probably get a list, some of it from my father, and then I'll drive around town.
Yeah, I would
And
go
just
through and
look,
audit
I mean-
the businesses.
Hence
I'm
my
okay-
amendment.
I'm okay with Dave's amendment from the
That's
point of
fine.
view is,
90 days.
I wanna give him a chance.
Yep.
You know, and hopefully come September, it's as easy, it went great, and we just
Should,
finish up.
I mean,
the
I
appointment.
should be able to get some billing done between now and then, so you'll see what can be billed.
Okay.
Great.
I mean, a lot of the stuff, now, this is bothering me, that you're telling me that you haven't received the money that I've billed out, that I've put out there. I mean, the work that I've done, and you haven't gotten paid for it.
Actually, yeah, could we start with the report for last year, to see what was
I
actually
can see
billed?
what my father
Yeah,
has,
this should be a delinquency. We should be able to see.
Because
this.
I can tell you what already been billed this year.
Yeah, I would go back to what was billed last year. We can go back and see what was collected, and same for
Right.
for this year.
If I may though, a question?
Mhm.
So what you're saying is as you do them, you put out a bill.
That slip the white copy,
We're saying we've never, Mike is saying we've sort of don't see those here at town hall.
I have never seen one in 5
Okay.
years.
So we.
I'm not saying
we
he
get a
do- he
copy
doesn't
as you
do it.
bill? Or as your dad billed?
well, you'll get my report. See, on the report, it shows whether it's been billed, or sometimes they'll write a check, and I'll bring the check down to the town hall with the slip.
Yeah, so if you can provide us that accounts receivable.
Yeah.
Is that the
Who do you
best-
give it to?
I don't know who my father, he always reported to the health department, so the money, if he got any checks, they went to the health department, most likely.
So you see.
I'll have to ask him, I don't know.
If I may continue.
See, normally I just stamp it and the merchant sends in the check.
I think going forward, is that, from Mike, that doesn't sound like the best method. I mean, would it be better for us as a town to bill? Or is that just adding more problems here at town?
No, it'd be better if somebody else did the billing,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
But let us know
We
what
have
they're
to
billing, so
know-
we can keep track of it.
So we can collect it.
Yeah, yeah, accounts receivable.
Well, that's where my report comes in, because if you look at, well, I already passed it around once, but it shows
Oh, right,
that
right. I think the
what
key
the
is that
last
we need-
column
we
is
need to get
the
the
fee
report
that I
regularly.
billed.
Right.
That's the key.
And
So
whether it was
that's-
billed or whether it was paid.
Right, so we should get a report from last year on what was billed, and a
Yeah,
report
I'll
from
see what my father has.
obviously this
I-
year and what was billed. And we'd like to see a monthly report
Yep.
from you, and an audit on what we have in town for scales and
That's
pumps
gonna
and
be
all
the
that.
biggest thing to do, is to go around and make sure I get
All right.
everybody that has a scale in town, and, you know.
Well,
Okay.
if I may, and maybe if I may continue,
Mhm.
I'd like to go along with Phil, and I'd like to just say, the guy's been here twice. he's making an effort that I've not seen in all the years I've been here. Let's just do it for a year and get it over with. But then again, he's also stated that he's comfortable if we do it till September. So I think it's more up to us. Do we wanna,
Yeah,
do we wanna go till September, or do we wanna say, listen, let's just let this ride for a year?
Well, I think it's
if I
time
can
to
get
move
a-
the question, Mr. Chairman,
If
on the
I,
amendment.
if the others would support, at least giving them a try to get it over the line.
90-day
let's-
review.
Let's do
Yeah,
that.
all right, so,
My question to you guys is, how are we gonna work the payment to me?
We'll figure that out after.
We'll
It's a
get
Mike, it's a
Mike
Mike and you
to figure
discussion
that
to
out.
figure out the process. But I'll let you guys figure that out, because I don't get to write checks.
all
I
right,
understand that, I understand. I just wanna know that if I'm gonna put this effort out there, that I wanna get paid for what I'm doing.
Well, you should probably have an opportunity to sit down with the Board of Health, the health agent, and with Mike at some point to come to a process agreement.
As long as it was the same that my father was getting, I don't have a problem.
The line
And
Yeah,
that
it's
was
$300 a month.
$300 a month?
I think so.
yep,
I think it was $300 a month.
all right.
Yeah,
So do we have a
our intent is to
second on
pay
this?
for it
Did you
the
get a
rest of the
second?
time.
Yes, we did.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor of appointing Mr.
The
Rose?
amendment first,
Right, the
The
amendment.
amendment was to appoint
was to change it to the third.
Mr. Rose till 9:30 of 14 versus
Yeah,
6:30 of
June 31st,
15.
So, 9:30.
Aye.
All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, okay.
We'll have to vote on the
We have to
initial.
vote.
And then we have to vote on 6:30, 15. All those in favor?
No, that's
No, no,
been changed.
We just changed the date, now we
just
gotta
changed
vote
it.
on
Yeah,
that with the
but
new date.
we're
We gotta
now-
vote to
we're
It's a
appoint him with the
redundant
new date.
vote.
Oh, okay, so all those in favor of 9:30, 14?
Aye.
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 Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
So, Wallace, you and Mike will connect and
Okay.
work out the details.
Mike, can you give them the details that we need?
Okay.
Do
Great.
you guys have to swear me in, or,
You have
I
to-
mean, that's the way
you
it was
have
done
to
in
go see the town
Wakefield
clerk.
and Haverhill.
You gotta go see the town clerk on your own.
We actually have your appointment here, ready
Okay.
to be signed.
Okay,
So we'll get
I
it
think it'd just
signed.
be the date would have to be
Right.
changed.
And we'll
Yeah,
put the date
we'll
on it,
do
we'll
that.
get it to you, and then you just go downstairs and get sworn in.
Well,
At the
should we go
clerk's
see the
office.
town clerk?
Appointment to
Town
the
clerk.
town clerk.
yeah, and I'll just come, I can come back tomorrow, you think?
Downstairs, I meant the town
Just go
clerk.
see the town clerk
Give it a couple
tomorrow?
of days.
That's fine.
Great.
I'll be in the area anyway, so,
All
Okay,
right,
All
very
right, thank
good.
you.
Thank
good
you.
luck, do a good job for us, please.
okay.
All right.
I have been. Evidently, you haven't been getting paid. That's what bothers me.
We'll
Because
figure-
I know
we'll get it
Crosby's
figured out.
alone is $400-500
We'll,
every
we'll-
time I do that store.
I have a feeling that there's some miscommunication more than people not billing, so.
Yeah.
We'll
I
see,
think
but
We'll get it
thank
figured
you.
out.
My
thank you.
You
father-
have us at yes.
My father did mention that sometimes the money didn't get put in the right place.
We'll
Oh,
see.
All right, well, We're gonna-
I'll
Figure
leave
it
on,
out.
I'll
I've done
leave
it
on
on.
that note.
thank you.
okay,
Wallace, have a good night.
take
Thank you.
care.
You bet.
Next order, employee handbook revised July 1, 2014. What's the story on that, Mike?
Well, I asked, after last meeting, the board asked if there were any additional, well, to let the employees know that
Okay, great.
because of the underwhelming response to the first draft, I sent them an email and said, selectmen want to hear from employees, any comments they have on the draft. I got several good comments and questions from Pam Rogers, who's responsible for administering a lot of the benefits. And she pointed out some discrepancies between the new and the old. And we weren't meaning to change any benefits or anything like that. We're just trying to make them clearer. And so we made those adjustments to the package, to the draft that is now in your package. And now, as I said earlier, it's very comprehensive. It represents the best practices of personnel management in the state. It's recommended by by Maya. They update it very frequently. We should probably be reviewing this on an annual basis, just to make sure we're, stay up with best practices and changes in the laws too.
Okay.
So there's no need, Mr. Chairman, for our HR attorney to take a look at it? We're getting this, it's pretty much boilerplate from, with our, you know, policies in there, from Maya.
Yes.
I mean, even in my own situation, my own business, we always have a second set of legal take a look at it, just to make sure that there's nothing missing, or we haven't misquoted the law in any way.
Mhm.
Do you think that's worth doing, Mike? I mean, I'd be a little more comfortable if that was the
Well,
case.
it can't hurt. It would,
It's an 80-page document,
could be quite expensive.
51 pages.
51-page document?
Hmm.
No, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot there,
Mhm.
and slip up on one particular issue and you could have a major problem.
Mhm.
So my suggestion would be that we have it reviewed by a third party, at least this one time, to get us, you know what I mean, Mike?
Get the
To
base
it
right.
Updated and get the base right,
Yep, I agree.
you know?
CYA.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I think so. At least get a quote, maybe, and let's see what,
Yeah,
see
I mean,
what it
get a
is.
quote, see what it might cost, but I agree. I mean, this
Yeah,
is
this-
personnel stuff, and we want to make sure we get it off the tarmac correctly, right?
I don't wanna spend spend
Yeah.
extra money needlessly, but you
Did you
see what's
say-
going on in some of these cities and towns with employment issues and the settlements that have come out of them, out of free cash. They've been tremendous amounts of money, so.
But Mike, you've obviously looked at it and haven't seen any red flags, right?
No, I haven't.
So I've gone through the first, like, 20 pages, and I have a few questions, but I will complete this. The font is size
So
-4,
You didn't
and
get it in the one that Phil requested or I
Yeah.
remember that.
You need your magnifying glass.
oh, no, I'm
definitely.
just, I literally have a doctor's appointment.
Let's see how much it's
Wednesday
gonna
morning.
cost for a quick, you know what I mean, like, a review.
Like even a $5,000 investment could save us,
Save us
you
millions.
know,
Save us
hundreds
Billions.
of thousands of dollars.
a lot,
Right.
yeah.
If I may, Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Just one thing, and that is that we use the word organization in here a lot, Mike, and I at first took a little like, Andy, we gotta call the town the organization. But perhaps if, in the definitions, perhaps we did add something for organization, because it is used a lot. And I did wonder, in some instances, you know, what would it mean? Would it mean by the organization? Could it refer to perhaps the water department or the light department, or would it refer back to the town or the school? So I guess that is, and that, it seemed pretty broad to me.
Well, I think they mean the town.
Yeah.
And it does not apply to the school at all,
Okay.
It's the CBA.
but it does apply to the water and the
Yeah.
light departments.
And police?
Oh, yeah, everyone, you know, everyone but the school.
And the seal of weights and measures would probably get one of these?
No.
No, he's a contractor.
Oh, he's a, but yet, in here somewhere, we mentioned that we expect contractors on page 7. The town of Georgetown requires all that. I think that was to be in compliance with perhaps a criminal background, that was what it was. Okay.
Yeah, I need another little bit, but as you guys get through, and it starts the process getting through legal, I imagine it's gonna be a week or so turnaround at best. I'll finish my
Okay.
beach vacation reading this week.
We're already at the beach.
You better have some coffee before you start digging into that thing.
Before I start drinking.
Drinking, yeah, exactly. So,
I'm going our ESCO, I mean, you know, can we get the temperature at least down to 85 in here?
We're
All
saving
that
it.
ESCO money we spent?
We're saving
Are
Are you
it.
kidding me?
We're
We're
saving
gonna
it.
definitely save.
Wow, is it comfortable?
Comfortable.
The ESCO did
I'm
not
melting.
cover this floor.
Of course not.
of course.
Being a wise guy, Mike, but please, turn on the AC for the next meeting.
All right, gentlemen, moving on. The next one, old business food truck regulations. We have a draft in here. Mike, did legal counsel go over the draft?
Yes.
And I did see some highlights in here. Was that from legal, or you just highlighting a few things, or?
I think I highlighted a few.
Okay.
So, so Mike, we got this late mid last week, and then the 4th of July came, and I was away all weekend. So I honestly, I hate to admit, I just haven't had time
Okay.
to read through this. Could we get?
Want to move it off to the next meeting?
Well, as long as we definitely are prepared to come to
To vote on
comments,
it, and comments?
so we don't waste any more time on it.
Okay.
I'd like to have the police chief present too, for discussion on this too. When we finalize it, the night we finalize it, for any other questions. See what his feeling is.
All right. You want to invite the police chief to the next round?
Certainly.
You gentlemen review it,
Make sure he
make
gets a copy of
comments,
it.
we'll discuss it on the next meeting, we'll have the police
Anyone
chief here.
else?
Well,
Board
the
of Health?
committee, the Board of Health,
Right.
police, fire, highway, and building inspector too.
Mike, this was drafted off of other towns, right?
Yeah, KMP wrote this.
Okay.
They-
Yeah,
they
so it's
wrote
their
it for
standard.
another town.
So it's their
Yeah.
standard, okay.
Can I ask Mike
Yeah.
a question? Thank you. Is this the first time we've received this one?
No.
No, this was
We
last
had this particular one
August,
last
I
year?
think we got it
know
last
We've
August.
received several of these.
Right.
From different towns. I remember one town down on the Cape and that, so.
Yeah,
Yep.
And
that's
this
what
would-
I started with, and then
And this would have to go to
KMP
town
said,
meeting,
look,
right?
we've written this for other towns,
Okay.
this is what works.
Does this have to go to town meeting for, if we,
No,
to adopt it or nothing?
no, this
Okay.
is, this would be a selectman's regulation.
Okay, all right.
The
It
last
would appear
chairman,
in the, in our code book.
the
but,
last chairman dropped the ball on this, Stu, don't let us down.
Is there a reach back clause
Yeah.
on the last chairman?
All right, cool.
All
So
right,
I
moving
promise-
along.
I got to read this, I gotta read the
Moving
town
along, gents,
handbook. I had
there
great
is a
vacation.
acceptance of Kiwanis monetary gift to the fire department of $5,000. I'd entertain a motion to accept the gift as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
Great
All
job.
those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great job by
I
that.
think it's wonderful.
That was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you, Kiwanis. We really appreciate that. It was a $5,000 gift to the fire department to be used for fire pagers, alert pagers, to replace some of the pagers that we have. It'll outfit approximately 14 firefighters. So thank you to the Georgetown Kiwanis Club for that very generous $5,000 donation, and to Deputy Fire Chief Russ Moyer for inquiring about this with the Kiwanis Club. So thank you guys, we much appreciate that. Line item transfer approval is from account 151112 Health Services of $600 to account 15111 Health Personal for $600. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we support the line item transfers that you just mentioned.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion, questions. Mike, you want to give a quick top line on that one?
Based on the emails I read, this happened while I was on vacation, but they're short $590-something. They paid two people twice in this fiscal year, the last fiscal year, when they should have been paid in
Two different.
half and half.
Yeah, okay. All right. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. And Mike, I think that's it, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, I'd entertain a motion to move along, adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Have a great evening, thank you.